Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to a new video. So people still ask me, how are you still modifying this car? You've done everything. Is there anything left? And yes, there are tons of things to do. That is one of the main reasons why I bought this car. The aftermarket support is insane. You literally can do just about anything to these cars, and that is one of the reasons why I'm still hanging on to it. It's keeping my interest, and I still enjoy modifying it and creating my perfect vision of an STI. Now, a lot of people think I'm just doing stuff to this car just to make content, but that is completely the wrong idea. Everything that I put on this car is for a reason. In one way or another, it actually serves a purpose in the grand scheme of things. It makes the overall driving experience and overall enjoyment out of my ownership that much better. I'm not just throwing parts on it just to do it. I'm personally doing all these modifications because I feel that everything that I put on this car is just making it better and better. Now, currently, as this car sits right now, the way it looks, sounds, everything about it is exactly what I wanted in my complete vision of a perfect STI. So I'm at the point right now where all the major stuff is done. Wheels, tires, suspension, exhaust, performance, everything about it is exactly what I wanted. So I'm at the point now where I'm kind of touching on the fine details. I'm going down my list that I've had for a very, very long time. I'm kind of touching things that I just kept on putting on the back burner and said, hey, I'll get to that later. I'd rather get the bigger stuff done. And now I'm at that point. I'm at the point now where I'm kind of touching these smaller details, making the car that much more refined, making it that much better, and just touching on the small details. Because honestly, these small details like this is what makes or breaks a car. Now, the modifications that I'm specifically talking about in this video are driver enhancing modifications. These types of mods make the overall experience that much better. Anytime that I have a chance to install a driver modification, I'm so excited simply because I know it's going to keep on making this car better and better and better. You know, it's obviously fun to look at and just enjoy, but to drive this thing obviously is the main enjoyment that I get out of this. Now, I don't capture every single time I drive this car. I drive it a lot, believe it or not. It's not my daily driver, but I do get it out often and I do enjoy it more than you think. But like I said, anytime I get a chance to do some driver modifications and make the overall experience better, I'm all for it. So there is a brand called Verus Engineering that I'm very, very fond of. They have a lot of great modifications for this car and other cars as well that actually perform and have R&D and testing to make them justified. They're not just things you put on the car just to make them look cool. They actually have a performance aspect to it. They actually serve a purpose. I actually have a piece sitting right here, Verus Engineering. This is the LCA rear covers. Attaches to my Verus Engineering diffuser, which actually serves a purpose. Granted, I drive this car on the road and the streets. I'm not going to see the full benefits of this kind of stuff, but still, I like to put things on that actually serve a purpose, that actually have R&D, that actually have testing to prove it. If you go on their website and look at all their information, they have graphs and tests just to prove and show you just how much research went into all of their products. So anytime I get a chance to install a Verus Engineering part, I'm excited. So we actually have a small modification over here that I have been dying to put on the car. This has been said to be one of the greatest modifications that you can do in terms of driver mods. This is a product by Verus Engineering. It is called a throttle pedal spacer. So I have an entire video on how to drive the STI because getting in this car right away is not the easiest car to drive. It takes some getting used to. The clutch and everything is kind of weird. Even if you're an experienced manual driver, it does take some time getting used to. If you guys are interested, check out the video in the top right corner. I'll go over all the tips and tricks and everything and just how to drive this more smoothly. The reason why I'm talking about how to drive an STI is because I talked about heel towing. To sum up what heel towing is, basically you have your foot on the brake and the gas pedal at the same time. So if you're coming up to the corner on the track or you're just driving spiritedly, basically you're gonna brake, blip the throttle so you can get the RPM ranges where they need to be, and then you can get right back on throttle once you're off the turn. It does take a lot of practice. It's not the easiest thing to learn, but once you get it, it is the best thing in the world. So this modification is actually going to help you tremendously. And the reason why it's going to help so much is because for whatever reason, Subaru, when they made this car, or the STI in general, the pedal setup is very, very odd. The brake pedal's here, and then the throttle pedal is way down here. So there's a big gap between the two. In order to heel toe very efficiently and easily, you want the brake pedal and the throttle pedal to be pretty much parallel. So when you have your foot on the brake, you're able to just blip the throttle instead of reaching all the way down. It's very hard to heel toe with these pedals since there is such a large distance in terms of the depth from the brake and the throttle. But what this little spacer is actually going to do, it's actually going to do exactly that. It's going to space out the throttle pedal, so it's going to bring the throttle pedal closer to you and more even with the brake pedal. It's going to be much easier to heel toe, it's going to feel much more natural, and you're going to be able to drive this car much better. To help with heel towing and to help with the overall driving experience, I actually installed different types of pedals. They're called SRP racing pedals. I have a whole video on that. I'll link it in the top right corner for you guys. But the great thing about these pedals is not only do they look nice, but they actually have a nice performance gain from them. So if you notice on the driver pedal, there's actually an extension on the left side of it. So you have more surface area to help with heel towing, to help with the overall driving experience, and it really does help. But if you notice, this is kind of the best angle to show. As you can see, the brake pedal here and the gas pedal is much lower, the brake pedal is much higher. So it is really, really hard to heel toe with this efficiently. So this Verus Engineering throttle pedal spacer is literally going to bring the gas pedal, the throttle, up even with both the clutch as well as the brake. And one of the really cool things about this throttle pedal spacer is you can see the holes, they actually have some adjustability. So you're able to move it left or right or up and down. So you can actually position this to where it's most comfortable for you. Now, when you install this, they actually tell you to position it all the way to the right, and then in the middle, with the up and down adjustment, they tell you to install it in the middle. So I'm going to do just that, install it the way that they tell you to do it in the instructions, and then we can make adjustments there. So basically the install is super simple. It's two 10mm bolts, unplug one plug, put some bolts in, tighten it down, and then you can make the adjustments. Really simple. I'm going to show you how to do it. But this piece in general is a very, very nicely made piece. It's billet aluminum, so it's high quality. It's super light. It doesn't have much weight to it. It has some really nice etching on there from Verus Engineering, but it is a super nice piece. It also comes with a throttle stopper, a pedal stopper here that you have to install as well, since it is changing the overall pitch of the throttle pedal. And here is the hardware, and they actually include this. So this is actually really important that I'm going to read real quick and basically explain as to why they sent this with the package. So what this actually says is this product changes the location of the throttle pedal and may make driving difficult at first. Verus Engineering assumes no responsibility for installation of this product on your vehicle. It also says to feel the full effect of this product, we recommend driving the vehicle with this installed for no less than 2 full weeks. Muscle memory causes this feeling to be uneasy at first, but after a few weeks, it will feel much more natural and you will be able to heel toe much easier. Happy driving. So basically what they're saying is it's going to feel different. You're going to feel weird. You may want to take it off immediately, but just give it some time. So that is what we're going to do. We're going to install it, get a feel for it. Then I'll give you guys an update down the road once I get some seat time with it, let you know if it's actually worth it. It's really not that expensive. It's about 120 bucks or so. So it's not the end of the world if you don't like it, but I know it's something I'm going to love since I said driver modifications are my favorite. And I always noticed that the throttle pedal was just so far away from the brake. So this is just going to make the car better. So let's go ahead, let's start on the install and get this on the car. All right, so there is not much room to work here. I will do my best to try to show you where everything is. But like I said, I'm working in the footwell here and it's kind of hard with the camera and everything set up. So we are going to remove two 10mm bolts. So if we look up here, there's one right there and then one above it. And there's a little plug on top that we're going to remove. We're going to go ahead and remove the two 10mm bolts and then unplug it, and we'll be able to take the entire throttle out. All right, so we got it removed. Sorry, not much room to work here, but as you can see, the plug up top there is going to take that out. Like that. And now we got the whole pedal out of the car. All right, so I wanted to just show you the pedal out of the car. It's really not much room in there, as I mentioned, but this is the SRP pedal. It's really nice. You can get them different colors. You can get them black, gold, as well as silver. I chose black just for a really clean look. But yeah, so I wanted to show you what it looks like on the actual pedal here. So the longer slats is where these bolts go. Just wanted to show you out of the car. The longer vertical slats is where we're actually going to be installing the pedal. So we're going to be able to move this up or down. And then on the stock studs that we took the 10mm bolts off, we can move it left or right. So let's go ahead and get the two bolts supplied in the actual spacers. So they tell you to put it in the back there. So as you can tell, there's a little keyhole and it slips down so it's not going to come out. Same thing with this side. Going to slide it in the little keyhole at the top and then slide it down, which is really nice because when you go to tighten these nuts down, you don't need to hold it back, obviously, because this is going to be against the firewall. So that is a really nice touch. I just realized that. That's cool. So now these holes right here are where the stock studs, as I mentioned, are going to go into. You're going to use the stock 10mm nuts. So what we're going to do now is get the spacer in the car. We're going to start with the stock studs, put the nuts on there. Don't tighten them down yet, just so we have some adjustability. And then we can go ahead and get the actual throttle pedal back in the car. And then we're going to use these nuts on here to tighten down the actual pedal. So let's go to the car, put this on, and then we'll go from there. Alrighty, so as you can see, this piece right here is where the spacer is going to go. It is in the exact shape, pretty much. And then you can see the two studs right there and right there. And we're going to slip them on these holes as shown. So I will try not to get in the way of the camera to get these on. All right, so we got the spacer on. We didn't put any nuts or anything on, but as you can see, they just slip right over the studs. Now we're going to take the 10mm, install them loosely so we still have some adjustability, and then we can go ahead and get the actual throttle pedal back on the car. All right, so we got the spacer tightened down. Since I am running the pedal with the extension on it, I did torque it down all the way to the right. I feel like with the stock pedal, you have a little bit more adjustability left and right, but since mine is a little bit wider, I kind of have no choice but to leave it all the way right. Probably could move it a little bit to the left, but I don't want to be so close to the brake pedal where it's actually going to be dangerous. So I'm going to leave it to the right for now, and then I can make some adjustments down the road. But I torqued that down, so we're good to go. Now we're going to slip the throttle pedal onto the bolts that we just installed in the spacers, so right there and right there. And then we're going to use the supplied nuts that come with the kit. They recommend installing it in the middle of that slot, so it's going to push it up a little bit and be even with the brake pedal. So let's go ahead and do that, make some adjustments, and then we can tighten it down. All right, guys, so we got the pedal spacer installed. Everything looks good. As you can tell, it is so much closer to the brake pedal, much more even. Now there is still a little bit of a drop, which is actually what you want, because you're going to be moving your foot like that basically, and if it's too straight across, it'll feel a little unnatural. So having it a little bit lower is definitely where you want it. Now I may adjust it over a little bit. It is pretty close. It's about like a 1.5 finger gap between the two. I'm gonna drive around with that for a little bit, see if I like it. And then I may adjust it over a little bit if I find that to be a little too far away. But honestly, I think that is going to be where I keep it. It definitely does look pretty nice. Now, the last thing to install on this kit, you can see there is a pedal stopper right there. We actually have to replace that. Since it does change the overall pitch and throw of the throttle pedal, we have to change out the stopper there. It's a little bit higher and a little bit bigger because that is the stock one, and the pedal is so much lower that you don't need as high of a one. So that's why it's flat. So we're simply just going to twist that off and then twist the new one on. So here is the stock pedal spacer. Here is the one by Verus Engineering. This one's made of nice Delrin, so it's nice quality. And we're simply just going to screw it right onto that stud right there, just like the stock one. And it might be a little tough at first, as I mentioned. There's no threads on here, so you got to create them as you're tightening it down. But let's go ahead and get it installed, and we can wrap this install up. All right, so we got the little stopper installed. Takes a little bit to get it started, as I mentioned. You got to push kind of hard to get the thread going. Then once it catches, you can just screw it in and it tightens down very, very nicely. So that is what we're looking at. I can tell right now this is going to be absolutely amazing. All right, guys, so I was just messing around the driver's seat. Obviously, I didn't drive it, but I can instantly tell that it's going to be so much easier to heel toe. My foot is extremely close to the brake, so it's very, very easy to be able to just blip the throttle. When my foot is on the brake, my right foot, there's probably about 1/2 inch between my foot and the actual throttle pedal. So it's going to be super easy to depress the brake and be able to blip the throttle very easily. All right, guys, so we are out for a little drive to test out the Verus Engineering throttle pedal spacer. And initially it feels a little weird because the throttle pedal is obviously closer to you, but I am noticing it is insane insanely easy to heel toe. It is literally straight across from the brake pedal, so it's pretty impressive. Just that little spacer is a huge help. Now it's definitely going to take some time getting used to, but I've been driving for like 10-15 minutes or so now, and just driving with your foot on the throttle is pretty normal. I'm pretty used to it already, but just getting used to where the brake pedal is now, that's where the difference is, you know, because you're so used to kind of picking up your foot and then pushing down. Now you just kind of need to slide it right on over. Now for normal street driving, you definitely want to be conscious of this and be a little bit more careful when you are braking just under normal circumstances. You want to make sure you bring your foot, your right foot, all the way to the left of the brake pedal, because it is very easy to give it throttle when you are braking. When I'm driving normally under a normal circumstance, like coming up to a stoplight or something, I'll put the car into neutral. I won't have that issue of accidentally hitting the throttle pedal and kind of bucking or anything like that, but it's definitely something you need to be conscious of and a little bit more careful. But it's something you're definitely going to get used to. I mean, right now, like I said, I've been driving for 10-15 minutes. Where my foot actually is giving it throttle, it feels very natural, it feels very normal. It just feels a little strange when you're braking, but otherwise it feels really nice. I'm really happy I did this mod. It was only like $120 or so. So if you're looking to practice heel towing and make this a little bit easier in this car, I cannot recommend this mod enough. Super simple to do. It's very nice quality, and it enhances the overall driving experience. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This is a cool little mod. I'll leave a link below for you guys if you're interested in picking one up. But that's it for this one, guys. In the meantime, keep it clean, keep it simple, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.